Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Jace. So today we're going to look at Bitcoin, Ethereum, and ES. I know it's a Friday. It's looking like a nice weekend, so let's get through this quick. Let's start marking liquidity, untapped. So this is still a target eventually, I believe. Tapped here, so we've ran this multiple times, and then we had a low here. It's being tapped at the moment. If we are looking down towards a higher time frame moves, I'll also check if you're more interested in like a deep dive about price action, how I figure these things out, because this is going to be a quick one. Go to just my very last video, my very last one, and we do a deep dive, a price action. We break down the charts. That one's a lot more in depth than this one's going to be, and it'll explain a lot of these levels and whatnot. All right, and then we have weekly here. I'll show you why when we break down. I believe that if there's a breakdown, breakdown as in break down the time frame. I believe if there's a breakdown, I believe this is the level to buy, right around 27.4. But what I'm seeing at the moment isn't telling me breakdown. I'm seeing a lot of bearish takes. Here's the thing. I'm just going to say it right off the bat. Since when do we provide 1, 2, 3, and there's even more in the lower time frames? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Since when do we provide 6 perfect bearish retests for people to get short, and then we're going to do continuation downwards? I mean, maybe this market has changed. It's totally possible. Like, market metas do change. If you were trading Bitcoin in 2017, you know it was a very different asset than it is today. It traded completely differently. And then there was the BitMEX era of extreme liquidity sweeps, which we don't get that much anymore either. And now there's today's meta, which it's been okay, but it's a little, I don't know, it's a little weird. But recent meta, like over the last month, has been terrible in my opinion. Anyway, point being, over the history of Bitcoin, I rarely see a breakdown look like this. To me, this looks like a trap. To me, this looks like what is happening is people are shorting, and they shorted this, they shorted this, they shorted this, and all that is just developing fuel for later. If we push through here, everyone gets stopped out. So they get stopped out here, 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 and then you run all that liquidity, and then perhaps you go down. That would be sort of my gut feel at the moment. But with that said, I do want to make it clear that I feel like I have not been, or my strategies really have not been working, like I said, in the past month or so on Bitcoin. I've been trading a lot more ES and just feel like I've been killing it over there with the same techniques that I've used in crypto forever, but crypto seems to not be, giving me my setups. If you just look at ETH real quick, and I can just, people might be asking, oh, well, what setups are you talking about? Well, when we broke down here, I wanted to get short just on a little sweep, and we couldn't even get a little sweep. It's like these liquidity plays are not presenting themselves. So, nonetheless, but we'll get to ETH. I don't feel like I'm doing anything different. All I think is that the market is acting a little differently than it usually does. But with that said, if Bitcoin is to act as it does historically, this is a trap. And people are shorting. I mean, how often, like I said, how often do you provide this many perfect bearish retests? So we're just allowing everybody to get short perfectly, not even taking any liquidity whatsoever, not even taking their stops here, not taking their stops here, not taking their stops here. So no one's stops are going to get triggered. Everyone's going to get a perfect entry, and then we're going to go down. Now, how does that make sense? I've never seen that on Bitcoin. I don't think I've ever seen it. What does a breakdown actually look like? If this was a real breakdown and we were going to nuke, what it would typically look like is this. Boom, consolidation, maybe a tiny little sweep at best. You 100% do not get a perfect bearish retest. You almost never do. And then continuation. And everyone's just saying, the no retest was offered, because you know what happens on CT. Everybody draws this. But that retest is never actually offered on a high time frame move. Sometimes on low time frame moves, these retests are offered. I draw them too sometimes. But when it comes to like a high time frame move, and if it's a high time frame breakdown, what it looks like is this. It breaks down, it chops a little bit. Maybe it gives you the tiniest sweep. Maybe sometimes it even doesn't. Sometimes it just looks like this. And then it nukes again. It does not give you that retest. So since when do we give all these retests? The only way I can see this is moving back up to take these stops. That's how I'm looking at it. Again, these things have not been working lately. Market's been a little different, so to say, than it usually is, at least in my perspective. So take it with somewhat of a grain of salt. I'm sort of waiting for things to get clean again before I enter the market, but that's my gut call at the moment, is to take out all these stops. I think this is a trap. I can move up towards here. Okay, outside of that for Bitcoin, if it does come down, I'm looking to buy 27.4. And a sweep of this area is where we start looking for swing shorts anywhere up in here. We're not there yet, so it's not really necessary to talk about. But anywhere between sweep of this high and even up to potentially mid 37s. I'm not calling for that. I'm not saying we're getting there, but this is where I start looking to make some sells again and whatnot, and look for big shorts. Okay. I guess, that's mostly clean for Bitcoin. Just want to see if there's anything else. Yeah, swept these. A lot of leftover liquidity here, guys. Like, look at this. Just all these highs built up. This looks like a trap right here. We're just consolidating right below the swing. I've seen this so many times. If this doesn't trap, I'll just be amazed, because I wouldn't even want to trade like Bitcoin anymore if this doesn't come up and take these highs. It wouldn't make any sense. When do you give all these retests to go short? It's crazy. So while I can speak with all this confidence and conviction, these past couple weeks I've had conviction and confidence in these same type of things, like Ethereum sweeping this and then going down. I said that it'd be going down. All I did was draw the sweep first, and we didn't get that. So, at the same time, you can have all this confidence, conviction, but sometimes the market acts differently. So that's the only point I'm making when it comes to Bitcoin. Okay, Ethereum. Let's break it down real quick. Weekly sweep. All these lows built up. You didn't take this one. You didn't take this one. This is still a target eventually. With that said, I could see the same scenario for ETH if we were to move up and take these stops. These stops, I believe, will be taken eventually. Moving down further, if we were to break down, I'm interested in longs around 1750s. And it's really as simple as that. So one way or the other, either look into here, and I'll be looking for shorts in here, playing it down to this liquidity. This is your first take profit, where I'd probably take profit 80% or so, and then maybe you could play it to lower. But what you typically want to do is you want to take profit at the easy target, right? I've talked about this. I have a video called entries require targets, something of that nature. Go watch that one too. I'm always looking for optimal entries. I'm not getting overly greedy on my entry and taking shitty risk reward. I'm looking for good optimal entries, sweeping liquidity, things of that nature, and then playing it to the other side liquidity, and just taking profit right away. No need to aim for the home run, right? Everyone's always so wrapped up in the home run that they stay break even forever. They see a breakout, they long, they hold on to it for so long that it eventually reverses and comes right back down to their stop, or they trail the stop. And trailed can be good, of course, but you know what I'm saying. Just don't go for the home run every single trade. If you have a liquidity level here and you have a liquidity here, that's your entry if it looks good, and that's your take profit. You don't need to play it down to here. It doesn't make sense. It's asking for more that the market does not need to necessarily give. Okay? Everyone take a sip of water. So, yeah, again, with ETH, I think we already swept. I think there's good liquidity built up here. I like that move. I like to this liquidity. I'm not really interested in buying this. I'm more interested in buying the support. While it could bounce here, it's just not of interest to me. These tend to fill, these efficiencies below liquidity, they tend to fill. Not always, but they tend to. So I would be looking to buy 1750s, as I said. And if 1750s come before we take this, then that's the target, right? So the potential entry turns into the target. Okay, that's a good way to think about trades too, is sometimes when you don't get an entry somewhere, that area will probably become your target for your next trade based off of if you're going from support to resistance or resistance to support, etc. Okay, so Bitcoin covered, Ethereum covered, onto ES. Okay, we're on the weekly here, ES. This market has just been so incredibly clean. Like I said, if you're not trading ES, you got to give it a shot. Whether it's using a broker or Prime XBT at the bottom. Shout out to them for sponsoring these videos. You could trade it over there under the ticker SP500. Again, I don't shill ES because Prime has it. I shill it because it's genuinely the cleanest price action. I just caught this before, and my internet literally just came back on, and I was like, wow, look at this obvious low. Boom, obvious low, take profit, obvious low, entry, and just take profit above this local, the local level here, anywhere within this gap. You could take it here. I had it somewhere set in between. But point being is just look at how you just get these clean entries, beautiful off of liquidity. And you may ask, oh, well, what makes it liquidity? Well, look, this is all just efficient, and all of a sudden you have this big random wick. Okay, there you go. That's your entry. And for FOMC, we'll cover analysis too. But for FOMC, it was super clean as well. You had this liquidity, swept it, went up. You had this liquidity, swept it and went down. If you're on a lower time frame, swept it, went down. You had intraday action. The first trade of FOMC I took, which was simply the day's high and the day's low. Where was that? Yeah, the day's high and the day's low. So I went from a sweep of the low, right? Sweep of the low. And then I took profit at the high. And then I watched this rocket all the way to there. Honestly, I did think it could have went all the way. I really did. And I should have held some of my position. That was a mistake. I wrote that in my journal. But the reason I didn't was because this low was so nearby. And I thought maybe it's going to sweep this high, then sweep this low, then go. So, it is what it is. Like I said, I'm not aiming for the home run every single time. Most of the time, I'm not actually. So we do, we take what the market gives, and we're thankful for it. That's all. Okay. So for ES right now, obvious uptrend, right? So we've been seeing an uptrend. Weekly. Did I want the weekly? Yeah, sure. Okay. Previous week's high. I hear my dog walking. He might be going to the back door. Previous week's low, or 2 weeks ago low. Either way, when you break down, you'll see that it's confluent on the charts, right? You'll see a lot of confluence around these levels. Perfect. Let's clean them up. Okay, there we go. Ranging in between here. What do I think here? Well, found support twice, found support 3 times. 4 times, a lot of tests to this level. We're ranging in here, right? So here's the plan, right? Here's how I would look at this. I try to give you guys like plans ahead of time, but with ES, I'm much more of an intraday trader, so it's hard for me to provide you guys with really upcoming plans. But let me tell you how I'll be trading it so you understand. As long as we're range bound, I'll be looking for trades inside the range. I'll be using my typical techniques, liquidity sweep, fair value gap, things of that nature, okay? Just trading from level to level inside of the range. Now, if we begin to break down, let's say we daily close down here. I don't know why that happened. Say we daily close down here. Well, now my trading bias for intraday becomes bearish. I'm just looking for shorts, and I'm playing shorts to liquidity. I'm playing the next short to this liquidity. I'm playing the next short to this liquidity, okay? So I have my targets already set out. I'm playing to those liquidities, and I'm again just entering on maybe like an upward liquidity sweep. So let's say we come down and we consolidate, right? If we sweep this like that back below, that's my entry right there, straight to this liquidity target 1, this liquidity target 2, okay? Because we're breaking down from a large range here. So that's how I play it in that direction. Now moving upwards, if we are to flip this area to support and start moving upwards, I'm essentially doing the same thing. Looking for those type of entries, maybe even an SR flip off of here could be fine. We saw that previously right here on this low. I took an SR flip trade. resistance, flips to support perfectly. Nice and clean price action. And my dog's barking. Give me a second. All right, sorry, my dog was barking to go out. So on this side, the only difference on this side is that I'm taking profits more quickly. I'm really just intraday trading like I am within the range up in here. You'll have your target here of liquidity, but this will be your first target right there. That's support and resistance. But what I don't want to do is I don't want to say, oh, well, this flipped, I'm going to hold and just, let it keep lagging. Now, some people will do that, right? There's a lot of different types of traders when it comes to moves like this. But the way I see it is that this has been a very strong uptrend. And I do think it tends to reverse sooner than later. So while I could just play an SR flip and hold it and maybe it goes up another 200 points or something, it's possible. It's just not for me. And every trader is going to be different. Some traders are going to have that conviction that this is going higher and they're going to hold it for that 2 points or 200 points. Some traders are going to hold it, or some traders are going to have that conviction that it's going higher, but it actually doesn't. And it comes and stops them out. Maybe it stops them out at break even. Maybe it stops them out at their stop out. And then there's traders like me who are going to respect the trend, but take profits quickly. Take profit, find a new trade, take profit at liquidity, find a new trade, take profit at whatever local resistance or local liquidity developed. Okay, so that's how I play this, because I think that this uptrend is slowly coming to somewhat of an end. Again, could be very wrong. It could continue to uptrend for a month. It could continue to uptrend for a year. Who knows? But that's why I'm just more of a local intraday trader with ES. Okay, so we covered Bitcoin. We know what we're looking for. We think it's a trap. At least I think it's a trap. Ethereum, we have our plans. ES, didn't really give you guys any perfect plans, but again, you know how I trade it and how I'm looking for it. I've been posting you guys some hindsight educational trades on Twitter. You just follow that format. And, there's always the videos like a gift from me to you, a trading setup. Go watch that one. Any of the videos in my link tree, they're all free. Really have a lot of these techniques and entries and all that stuff in them. All right, so go check those out. Thank you as always. Make sure to like and retweet the tweet. Like the video, leave comments. I read them all. Anything. Great. Okay, thank you very much, guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace out.